You might recall that our last story ended with Daniel setting off into the world to see if he could find even 3 people who were sillier than Lena, the woman he wanted to marry, and her parents. Well, Daniel traveled a long, long way in this world, and he saw things the likes of which you and I have never seen. He saw fascinating places, big cities, and on the converse, small townships. And along the way, he met some pretty silly people, I can promise you that. This is the story of one of the silly people he met. One lovely summer's morning, Daniel came upon a most remarkable house. It was different because on one large part of the roof, luscious green grass was growing. Daniel stopped to assess. I have never seen grass growing on a roof before. I must ask the owner about this strange attribute. And so Daniel approached the house. There he found an old woman. She had her hands on her hips, and she was staring at the grass on her roof and muttering without ceasing. Beside her stood a normal-looking cow, chewing some normal-looking grass. "Dear woman, I come in friendship to admire the grass on your roof," called Daniel. "Ah, have you come to my aid, dear boy?" replied the woman, "for I have tried everything, and I could use your assistance." Daniel smiled in anticipation. "Of course I will help, gladly. Nevertheless, I do not know what it is you need." The old woman sighed. "Well, dear boy, you have admired the beautiful grass growing on my roof. I know my cow would benefit if it ate that grass. I have repeatedly tried to get my cow on the roof so it can eat the grass, but I have failed every time. Maybe you can succeed where I have not." Daniel had to squeeze his mouth shut to keep himself from bursting out laughing at such silliness. Imagine trying to get a cow up on a roof. "What have you tried so far?" he asked somewhat reluctantly. I can tell you that the woman was only too happy to tell her story. "First, I did the most logical thing, of course," she started. With elevated eyebrows, Daniel asked, "And what would that be?" "I put that big board there between the roof and the ground like a bridge. I wanted the cow to walk over the board and get onto the roof," said the woman, with a shake of her head. "But unfortunately it didn't work. When it came time for me to lead the cow to the bridge, it would not be moved. No amount of pushing or pulling or begging would get that cow to the bridge. I hadn't anticipated that problem. You'll be happy to know that I came up with a better idea the next day," said the woman as she gave Daniel a wink in anticipation. "This time I placed a thick and rigid mattress on the ground by the roof and got the cow to step on the end of it. Then I put a second mattress so that it overlapped with the end of the first and called on the cow to step up onto it. Although the cow seemed reluctant, the cow moved on top of the second mattress. Using the same procedure, I added more layers, and the cow climbed those mattresses and nearly reached the roof," she exclaimed as she snapped her fingers. "What happened then?" smiled Daniel, believing he had deduced the outcome. "That stack of mattresses fell over, and of course the inevitable happened. My cow came crashing to the ground," sighed the woman. Then she added, "I had to extract my cow from the heap of mattresses, but luckily it wasn't hurt. By then, I knew I would need an unbelievably clever plan," said the woman with a twinkle in her eye. Daniel wondered what this plan could be. Furthermore, he began to think that the woman might truly be crazy. "Pay attention, young man," cried the woman. "I'm trying to tell you about the time I almost got my cow on the roof." "I beg your pardon, ma'am. I assure you I want to hear your story," said Daniel apologetically. "Please continue." "This time I used that ladder over there," said the woman, pointing to the ground. "Ugh," groaned Daniel. "Cows can't climb ladders." "Well," replied the woman, "I know that now." And then she continued quietly, "But I really thought my plan would work. Here's what happened. I set the ladder up so that it would reach the grassy part of the roof. I brought the cow over and helped it put one front hoof on the third rung of the ladder and the other on the fourth. When the cow needed even more assistance, I helped it put one back hoof onto the ladder, then I pointed to the next step up. I kept giving the cow encouragement, but in the end, it didn't work. That cow just came right back down the ladder and walked off. Consequently, the cow is still on the ground. By this time, the woman was looking quite sad. Finally, Daniel spoke. Dear woman, let me assure you, this is for the best. Cows are not meant to spend time on a roof. They don't climb and they don't fly. Your cow is a normal cow and is best left on the ground. Daniel waited for the woman to reply, and he thought perhaps she understood him. But then she shook her head. No, young man, now that you are here, we can form a partnership and get this done. In the next moment, Daniel reluctantly took the rope from the woman that she handed to him. He saw that it led to the front door of the woman's house. Soon, Daniel realized that the other end was tied around the cow's belly and proceeded from there up and over the roof of the house to the chimney. Daniel anticipated what the woman would say next. This rope goes from the cow, down the chimney, and out the door of the house to your hands, said the woman. All we need to do is pull on it and lift the cow up to the roof. This will work for sure. Come on, boy, pull. Stop, yelled Daniel. Enough is enough. We cannot pull that cow up to the roof. This is the silliest thing I have ever heard. You must cease this at once. Let your cow stay safely on the ground, and when it is warm and sunny, go up to the roof yourself and enjoy a lovely nap in the luscious green grass. And with assurances from the woman that she would do just as he suggested, Daniel set off on his way, knowing he had met at least one person sillier than Lena.